Okay, it's live here now. And then let me check Facebook. Come on, Facebook. Connect today, please. No stress. Okay, it's connected. Wow, this is fast.
Awesome.
I know. So live we go. We've gone live 1 minute early, but that's good. And I'm just going to check the Facebook group. Fantastic. We are live. We are live. We are live. Hello, everyone. We are live. So just going to double check Facebook group and see. Yes, we are definitely live in the group, and I'm going to just share. And we are also live on YouTube. So give us a moment, YouTubers, if you are seeing this. Just put this in the chat group. We have about 800 plus people in the chat group. So we are live. Here we go. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'll take a sip as well. So welcome everybody, and welcome Dr. Ann.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here. And for those of you who don't know, Dr. Ann is, oh my goodness, your bio. And I was reading your bio. You've done an incredible work. But I want to share, she's going to tell us more about her work, who she is, because I always feel like it is better for people to tell you how they perceive themselves. I wouldn't do justice to everything that she has written here. I'm just going to describe her the way I see her and who she is to me. Okay, I think that would make more sense if I do that. So, Dr. Ann is the very first person, very first woman who signed up to our membership when we launched. She was she was the very first ka-ching that we got.
I knew something was getting ready to go on with you. I just couldn't go.
She was the very first person that made us realize that we had something good. You always need that one sale to just tell you in the right direction. And she was the very first person. Now, listen to this story because it's not finished. So she came in on a monthly, and then she upgraded to annual, and now she's a lifetime member. Like, how else can you support a business? How else can you support a business? So I truly, I love her so much, and I'm grateful for her. And I see the work she's doing, supporting women. Our health is very important. And see, you who is listening, I just want you to realize that we need to take care of our health. I'm becoming more and more conscious of my own health. Like as a younger child or younger adult, I used to be so careless, and even though I was born with a medical condition that should have made me be more careful in the way I live my life, but I was really careless. And the only time I slowed down was when I was in hospital with lovely doctors like Dr. Ann. And they say, Placida, you're here again. Have you been taking your folic acid? Have you done this? And I don't want to lie to the doctor. So I'll be like, I just took it before I came to hospital because I don't want to lie to you. You know, I wasn't doing the things that I was supposed to do that shouldn't get me to hospital. And then just before I get myself into hospital, I take the tablets that I was supposed to be taking so I don't have to lie to the doctors that I've been doing it. I was bad.
I stopped smoking yesterday.
I stopped smoking yesterday. I was so bad. I was so bad. And I've been blessed because when I think about how carelessly, so I didn't drink or smoke and any of that, but there were certain basic things that I should have done to protect myself because of the medical condition I had, and I wasn't doing it. And yet, I have lived what I'll consider quite a healthy life. But now getting to 50 plus, so I just say 50, but 50 plus,
Yeah.
I'm becoming more and more conscious of my well-being.
Mm-hmm.
I want, my limbs to function properly. I want my eyes to function properly. I want to be healthy. And I love the work that Dr. Ann is doing. And she's going to tell us more about the work she's doing and why this is important for us as women and also women in business. Because if you're not healthy, how can you do your business, right? How can you
Absolutely.
mentor and support? Or how can you support your family? How can you even enjoy the work that you do? You can't if you're not healthy, if you're always in hospital. And I tell you, it affected me earlier years in my coaching business. I was always ill. There are times that after a workshop, I will break down and there's this gap. So there was no follow up because I was ill. And if I had taken that care to take care of myself, then I won't have that gap. So I am so excited. I'm rambling so much, I'm talking so much because I'm excited to have this woman on this call. And
Mm.
such a powerful lady. Now I'm going to let her introduce herself. Please, Dr. Ann, tell us about yourself. Tell us as much as you want to tell us about yourself.
You don't want to know all that.
I do.
Okay. So I am a double board certified physician. I got board certified in internal medicine decades ago. And most of my life, most of my practice was spent as a hospital based doctor. I was a practicing internist for decades. So for those of you who may not know what an internist is, an adult who gets sick sees an internist. Pediatricians like are for children, but for adults, the first care is typically an internist. For some women, they use the gynecologist as primary care, but they're not really up on the whole body system. So internal
Yeah.
medicine, that's my field. I cannot tell you how many gut wrenching episodes I had sitting at the bedside, watching people die, watching people suffer, gasping for breath. One of the things that I remember the most is when I was a third year medical student, went into this clinic and my patient had a golf ball size mass.
Wow.
I still remember that. I remember saying to myself, this is breast cancer. I'm a medical student now. This is breast cancer. It's so big. You're going to pass away from it. I didn't tell her that, but I just remember thinking if it had been caught earlier, you could likely live. But by the time she came to see us, it was huge.
Hmm.
Another thing I remember is being in the intensive care unit and telling a woman her husband in his 50s just died and we could not bring him back, watching her fall to the floor screaming uncontrollably. Still a medical student. Those things stick. And I knew that his conditions, the obesity, diabetes, high cholesterol, a lot of these things, they just came together and they clogged his arteries and ultimately took his life at a relatively young age. So when I was a third year medical student and a lot of my classmates were busy enjoying the little bit of time we had off, I started writing my first book. It's like, this makes no sense for people to be
Yeah.
suffering and dying when we can prevent it. So I started my first book in medical school, and then I wrote another book, and then I wrote another one a couple of years ago, Patient Empowerment 101, More Than a Book, It's an Adventure. And
Yeah.
that one really deals with how you can talk to your doctor. So your doctor will sit up, pay attention, and respect you, and you don't just keep going on and on without really knowing what the doctor's looking for. But so basically, that's my background. But I created a platform called patientworld.net a couple of years ago because I was determined to get this information out there. So a lot of people have heard of Udemy, and I thought it would be great to have like a medical Udemy. So it's
Yeah.
like a health and wellness marketplace where you can log in from any place in the world, sign up for courses on health and wellness. And one of the people that I contracted with to do a course, she did it on lifestyle medicine. And as I was sitting there recording her course, my jaw just dropped. I'm like, how is it that I've been a doctor for decades and I had no idea about all this science, on ways to prevent, treat, and reverse diseases naturally.
Hmm.
And I got so into this, I decided, let me go back and get another board certification. So I spent a lot of time preparing and studying, and I became board certified in lifestyle medicine as well. So basically, lifestyle medicine, it is a growing global field because we have so much data showing that we can prevent, treat, and reverse diseases naturally. I developed this saying, this PTR reset, and I just got an email from the trademark office today that there's no objection.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
right on the verge of getting the PTR reset. We can put type 2 diabetes into remission in a lot of people. That painful nerve damage that they had every day, that could be gone.
Gone.
Some people can come off the insulin. Type 2, not type 1. That's one example. We know how to decrease the risk of breast cancer. We know how to prolong your life compared to what people typically do if you have breast cancer. And we know how to decrease the risk that it recurs. There's so much that we know that this field is like sweeping the world. In America, the American Medical Association put out a resolution back in 2017 saying you docs need to know lifestyle medicine and apply it because the data is that strong. Fast forward, as of a few months ago, I was one of fewer than 1% of the physicians in America and in the world who had gone through the training to get this board certification. And so the thought of preventing these diseases before they occur or helping people cut back on the medication, of course, with their doctors. I'm a doctor, but I'm not your doctor, so I don't give medical advice. I give the empowering information and the coaching so you can take it back to your doctor and the two of you all can do a path forward. Because what I don't want is to coach people on putting diabetes into remission. They're taking all the medication and they end up with a blood sugar of 20 in the ICU. So all of this information is meant to be shared with your doctor and you all work together. But the potential is just dramatic. And so there's so much I could talk about, and I'm going to be quiet for a moment and I'm going to let you say something.
Oh my goodness. I just love listening to you. And the book you mentioned is on Audible. So anyone wondering, can you just mention the title again?
Yes, it's called Patient Empowerment 101. More than a book, it's an adventure.
Yes, it's on Audible, so you can go there, download it, put it on your mobile phone, and listen to it. It's very, very good. And
Thank
also, it's incredible what you're doing. And when you talk about the type 2 diabetes and all the prevention that could happen, like here in the UK, the NHS, we didn't usually used to have a lot of queues. Now there's so much queue. You go into a hospital, you can't even get to your GP. You make a call, and you have all these time slots like, oh, it's closed now. You can't call now. You can't make an appointment now till because it's just too full, too many people.
you.
And
Hmm.
it's not just the UK, it's all over the world. And what you're doing is teaching us that we don't need to go and flood the hospital if we can naturally fix ourselves. Then we can
Absolutely.
prevent, yeah, we can prevent, having a case of being in ICU. You don't need to be in ICU if you take the steps, the natural steps now. So your topic today is the new medicine.
Hmm.
Okay, the new
Yes.
medicine. So I want you to just tell us more about this new medicine.
The new medicine is lifestyle medicine. So, as opposed to just giving pills, which lifestyle medicine doctors don't do, the goal is to empower people to prevent, treat, and reverse diseases naturally. So, there are 6 pillars associated with that. The first pillar is a plant based whole food diet. So, this one in particular is very powerful when it comes to decreasing your risk of breast cancer. Even a man who has prostate cancer who follows this diet is likely to have a better outcome. So let me give you an example. We talked about type 2 diabetes. Whole food plant based diet. That's the goal. And so beans like pinto beans, black eyed peas, and so forth. When you eat those beans, the bacteria in your gut produces a substance called butyrate. Butyrate naturally decreases your blood sugar. So that is just an example of how we use food as medicine. So when I mentioned I would not want a person to get very aggressive with this and then they wake up and hey, the blood sugar's in the 20s, because food has the potential to do things that can significantly impact your blood sugar. Exercise, um, that's another pillar, but going back to diabetes, exercise has a way of expressing these receptors on the cells that pull the blood sugar in, aside from insulin. So when we talk about food as medicine, as opposed to just taking pills or shots, if you follow certain pillars, these 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine, then there's a good chance that you can prevent a lot of diseases. And if you have the diseases, cut back on the medicine under your doctor's supervision, or even potentially reverse some of these diseases. So we talked about whole food plant-based diet. One thing I do want to talk about, we have a huge epidemic of obesity, diabetes, and all sorts of things. And so people need to understand that food scientists now know how to create foods with just the right combination of fat, sugar, and salt, that these foods hit the same pleasure centers in the brain as sex and drugs. And so you may wonder, why do I keep coming back? Why can't I put this down? They're designed that way. They're called hyper palatable. They taste so good on the tongue, and when they get in the
I,
body.
I think I know a particular food that we eat and we've stopped it in this house. And I was saying
Mhm.
there must be something in this food that makes us just want to keep eating it, you know?
Yeah.
So we have actually stopped it. My husband and I, we stopped it because we noticed that every time we think about eating something that is not cooked by us, that's where
Uh-huh.
we go to. And I was thinking, no, there must be
Exactly.
something in this food that makes us want to go there all the time. Do you know what?
It
We're just
is.
going to stop it, and we did stop it.
You got it. So yeah, yeah. There's a scientific basis for that. And just think about how much money people spend on medications, how much money people spend on doctor's bills, money they spend in the hospital, how much money they lose because they can't go to work. There was a study by the World Economic Forum and the McKinsey Health Institute in 2024, and it noted that gap, the gender health gap, costs women the equivalent of 14 trillion minutes a year of quality life because of sickness and premature death. Women are often diagnosed later. Women, I mean, there are a lot of things that go into it, but just imagine 14 trillion minutes per year just because we're women. And also, I don't remember the exact figure, how many billions of dollars more will be added to the world economy if women could get past this, if we could get past this. It's not just that women aren't doing the right things. It's pretty complicated, but a lot of the things we can do. And so we're starting off behind the 8 ball. We're starting off in a situation that it's like, we're struggling to get to the top. And we need to be very serious about this, because if you have scientists who are creating foods that you just can't put down, and as a result of eating these foods, they're getting richer, and then big pharma is getting richer because they have the drugs to fix the diabetes, obesity, and everything else that you got by eating this food, the ultra processed foods. It's like a cycle, and the only one losing is us.
Yes.
We're losing money, we're losing health, we're losing time with our families, our lives, we're losing all of that as these multi-billion-dollar companies around the world are getting richer. So I digress. So we had the whole food plant-based diet. Exercise is very important, avoiding toxic substances. And it's not just alcohol and tobacco. If you pick up your shampoo, your lotions, pick up anything and read the label. You probably won't be able to read the label because of all of these scientifically derived words made in a laboratory. The body is not meant to break these things down. And so these things are building up. And so, in addition to alcohol and drugs and tobacco, we have just the typical household products, the typical toiletries, all of those things. They can be absorbed and they can increase the risk of many diseases. They can impact our hormones. We call them endocrine disruptors. And then we have social connections. And so we know that when you have strong connections, you're more likely to live longer. Then we have stress management and sleep. So when you get into these 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine and you develop a lifestyle based on these 6 pillars, you are significantly more likely to prevent, treat, and reverse a multitude of diseases. And even the mindset, even how you think, just go back. Imagine I stopped eating meat, but I go back to when I used to eat a double cheeseburger and French fries and a shake. And afterwards, I was like, oh, I just want to take a nap. And I compare that to how I feel after I eat a kale salad with some walnuts and strawberries and so forth, and I'm ready to tackle the world. I mean, in your gut, the gut is like the second brain. So whatever you take in, your gut is processing and it spits out hormones, chemicals, and all of these things. And some of these things have significant impact on your emotional well-being. For instance, everybody's heard of Prozac. The drugs in that class are called SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs. There are foods that we can eat that also produce serotonin and make us feel good. And there are foods that we can eat, such as chicken breasts and a variety of other things. There are also foods that we can eat that just make us want to slump over and go into hibernation. And so everything from your emotional well-being to your lifespan is impacted by these 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine.
Incredible. I've just listened to you and I said, okay, I could let her just talk all day. I could just let her talk all day. It's an information that needs to be heard, and um I don't know if this is the right time to bring it up, but I did see that you have a post about some mini drama.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what's that about?
We women love stories, right? I used to love to watch soap operas. And since a lot of women are very busy, they don't really take their health seriously. I thought, well, just develop a mini drama. So each of these, 3 to 5 minutes. So far, we have 2 characters. We have Autumn Steele, who is this super executive who doesn't take care of herself. And then we have her friend, Chantel. And Chantel, she is the opposite. She has done those things to empower herself. And so there's this ongoing drama between Autumn trying to find herself, trying to pull all this together, realizing something's not going right in her body. She's busy. She doesn't have time for her kids. Her dog doesn't recognize her, but she's a successful businesswoman, but her health is declining. So vital signs rising basically means as she's ignoring her health, the blood pressure is going up. All these other things are getting out of whack. And so I'm going to launch the first one within the next week or so, but it'll be like a weekly series of, this conversation between the two of them, and I narrate it. And so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I saw it and I thought this sounds interesting. What's she up to again? Because you're always creating, and that's what I love about you. Whenever I see your
Whatever it
post,
takes. Thank
yes,
you.
you're doing so much to educate people, women especially, on their health, and I hope that people are actually seeing the content you're putting out and taking the information and applying it. And at this point, I'm going to ask you, we're not done yet, but I'm going to ask you to share with us your community. If anyone wants to join, I think that your health is really, really important. Not I think, I know it is. I've been there. I've been the child that was always in hospital. I've been the person that her parents are always panicked. Is she going to leave? Oh, is she alive? Is she dead? And to be the person who I am today, I had to make shifts. And I'm still making shifts. I intend to be on this earth for quite a long time. I have people to serve, and I intend to be healthier and healthier every day. So I'm doing everything I can to be healthy. And that's why, Dr. Ann's work is really dear to my heart. And I want to say that if you are in that space where you know that you're not doing the best for yourself, or even if you have started the steps in taking care of yourself, but you need more information on how to go about it, then Dr. Ann's community is where you should be. You should be there to learn from her. So, Anne, would you like to tell them about your community? And we'll put a link in the Facebook group so people can join.
Okay. So my group is Women's Health and Vitality Unleashed. And I actually just launched a podcast with the same name. It's on Spotify and Apple. But Women's Health and Vitality Unleashed is a community of right now a little bit over 2,000 women, about 20 different countries. And so I post, just still post, and also do some lives in there. And in addition to being the main hub for like this mini series, I am going to start mini coaching, so to speak. So I'll
Yeah,
be giving these quick coaching sessions within this Facebook group. And then certainly when you join, if you want to drop your email, then I will be giving you access to the special ebook, Your Health, Your Wealth, the Ultimate Power Play. And also we have Freebie Fridays where I give away a free course every now and then on my patientworld.net platform. So there's a lot going on, and
yeah,
people can also get discounts to other things I'm doing at the patientworld.net. And then I have the women's coaching, which is a subscription or just a yearly. But with a subscription, I figured, a lot of people, they don't want to spend a lot of money up front. So with a subscription, they can pay a small amount each month, still get coaching, still get all this information. So I am working because I cannot forget those people. I
yeah.
also had a very close, my best friend died in my home. I was her doctor and her hospice doctor. And so she lived in my home until she passed. And it was from a disease that she didn't have to die from. And so after decades of watching people suffer and die, until I take my last breath, by the grace of God, I plan to be empowering people so their family and friends don't have to go through, but so many people have gone through, and they don't have to suffer unnecessarily.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very, very, very important. Very, very important. And my mom got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Like she didn't know she had it. Being a Christian and a very prayerful woman, she was just praying over what was going on in her body without saying
Mm.
anything. And by the time she said something, that we took her into hospital, they say it was stage 4 cancer. She didn't have long to, they told her she didn't have long to live, but she's still with us and she's still strong.
Awesome. Power of
Yeah,
prayer.
yeah, yeah. Power of prayer, and
Yeah.
she is also a strong woman, faith strong woman. But she started doing lots of green juicing and changed her entire food.
Yes.
And then she would go on walks, even if her body was aching. She would make sure she would go on walks, and she's doing well. She's doing well. She's really doing well.
Testimony to this.
Yes, yes, she is doing well. And they told us we just have a few months, but we're saying 5 years, maybe 6 years now.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
6 years
awesome.
now. Yeah, yeah. So it's very, very important for us. And I don't know if any of you have had this experience. One time we moved house and we went to another city and we had to register with a new GP. And that conversation with the doctor, you're expecting that they have your file, they know about you, and you want to just, you think that they know, but it's like the doctor is in a hurry. Maybe you're not saying the right words, or, and then you have to start making a list of, okay, the next time in the GP, this is a list of things I want to talk about. Once you're in Dr. Ann's community and going through the programs and information that she's teaching you, you're able to know exactly what to say when you're in front of your doctor.
You
Because,
know, mhm,
go on.
I'm sorry. So that was the focus of Patient Empowerment 101 more than a book. It's an adventure. That's exactly why I wrote that book, because I would be in front of patients. The clock is ticking. Mrs. Jones in the next room has chest pain. The person down the hall may have this. And you could ask a question, well, I hadn't really thought about that. And it's because we did not educate people to think the way we do. We know we want A, B, C, D, and E, but we didn't teach people that. And so the
Yeah.
book, Patient Empowerment 101, more than a book, it's an adventure, explains to you before you go to see a doctor, these are the things to think about. So when you sit down with the doctor on the cold examining room table, you're angry that he's behind, you're cold, you don't feel good. That's not the time to bring all this stuff back together. You're going to forget something and he's going to be tired. I've got to go to the next patient. Let me order all these tests. Come back and see me when I have an appointment. And so you end up spending more money. You have more suffering. You prolong the time for the diagnosis. So that is exactly what this second book is about. It tells you how to be proactive. It explains you how to develop your own medical record. There's a link, there's information in the book. I'm not sure if the Audible, if they, Amazon did the Audible for me. But in the book, the hard copy and the downloadable book, there's a link. You can go on the website, patientempowerment101.com, and you can download all these charts, your medical history, your social history, your surgeries, all of these things. And so you can you can develop your own medical record. And so it is not uncommon. You go from one doctor to the next, and they may not have your records. And it's also common that if you're sick, you're not going to remember everything. You're
Yeah, no.
lying in the ER. They just gave you some pain medicine, and they start asking you questions. It's like, I don't know. And so that having that information could be life-saving. A simple example: if you tell the doctor, I'm allergic to aspirin, and you're having a heart attack, you may not get something that can save your life. A true aspirin allergy can kill you if you're given aspirin. But if you say, I have stomach upset, the doctor's going to say, I'm not going to worry about that. In a very busy emergency situation, if you can pull this out, or your loved one has this information, instead of saying, my mom says she has an allergy to this or this, and you don't get the medicine, they pull it out, it says the medication, what type of reaction you had. Stomach upset is not an allergy, so the doctor is not going to worry about that. I once timed a patient. I asked her a yes or no question, and I just sat back. It took her 10 minutes to answer it, because she had to sit and think, oh, well, then I was going here, and then this happened, and then I turned left. So that's not when you want to think through your history. So she was the impetus for my writing the book, because people need to know. This stuff is not difficult. You don't have to go to medical school. You don't even have to finish high school to know how to communicate with doctors on a level that they're going to sit up and pay attention and say, she knows what she's talking about. I need to be focused and make sure I give her appropriate care, because she's an informed patient. That's what you want. That's the respect that you want from all of your healthcare providers. It also goes into how to stay safe in the hospital. Some people go into the hospital and the hospitalization regarding why they came was fine, but they have a fatal blood clot, because they didn't realize that that little shot that they were trying to give them can decrease the risk of a fatal blood clot. Or they didn't realize that keeping that catheter in the bladder for so long is the reason they're in the ICU struggling for life, because a urinary tract infection spilled into the bloodstream. So it goes into your primary care visits, the hospital stays, and even advanced care planning, your advocates and so forth. So this is a super cheap book that can literally save you a tremendous amount of money, and it can even save your life at some point.
As you're speaking, I would just think, I don't know if you have this already, um, like a workbook people can buy from you with, just fill in the, so let's say your blood type, and there's section for you to just fill it in. So just an idea. I don't know if you have it already, but
I
it's
have the workbook for
yeah.
Patient Empowerment 101. for whatever reason, when Amazon uploaded both of mine, it's harder to get to the workbook, but certainly if anybody wants the link, just, let me know when I give them the direct link. It doesn't
Yeah.
give you do the blood type, because the blood type, at least in America, they're not going to just take your word for it. They're going to test the blood, but it does give you all the charts and everything, the
Yes,
motivation,
yes,
all
yes.
of that. That's on Amazon as well.
Okay, fantastic. I was just thinking about it. I was like, yeah, it'd be nice to have something where you have your record of everything.
Yep.
Like when I go into
You can.
hospital, and some people don't even ask, maybe the hospitals are different. But I'm in hospital regularly for checkups, but I always request for my blood results, the full chart. I need to see it each time. I don't go just by the word of, oh, your levels
That's
are okay now. I
that's
want to
a
see it. I
point.
want to see. I want to see it. I want to compare it for myself. The last time and this time, I want to
Absolutely.
compare it. Yeah.
And that's
So
another thing I go over in the book, is that you need, whenever you go to the hospital, whenever you have tests, you need to get a copy. And I actually recommend, I do have like that little workbook that you talked about, but what I think is even better is like the ongoing, the living document, and you can download the different records you need for that from Patient Empowerment 101
yeah,
.com. Once you get the book, you get the link, because that way you get a 3-ring binder. You go and you get the tabs and you separate things, hospital records, lab results, all of these things. You can put
yeah,
stuff in and out. You go to the hospital in America, they do a discharge summary. The discharge summary is the typed version. Mrs. Jones is a 45-year-old who came to the hospital with these symptoms. We did these tests. The significant test results were these. They saw a cardiologist who ran this test, and the result was this. It is one document. And so I recommend in this book, always get a copy of a discharge summary. I go over common lab results. A doctor starts talking to you about creatinine and all these things. You're like, what does that mean? So I give a glossary at the end that explains the test the doctor's going to talk about. So when the doctor starts talking about your blood results, you can go back and forth and have a conversation. The doctor may fall off the seat. I had one colleague, actually, she's not a doctor. She's like in administration. I explained all of these things to her even before she got the book. And she went to the ER within a couple of weeks, and they diagnosed her quickly with kidney stones. They treated her, and she got to go home from the ER. But she said, the doctor looked at me and said, "Are you in the medical field? I've never had anybody talk to me that way." That,
yep.
that the doctors will respect you on a new level and know she knows what she's talking about.
I completely agree with you about respect, and doctors will treat you differently. If they know
Absolutely.
you're a patient who is
Absolutely.
informed, they will treat you differently. And sometimes almost like, you're a favor or favorite of a doctor, but it's because you are informed and they know that when they speak with you, it's like you're speaking intelligently with them.
You're a
And
partner. You're helping
yeah,
them help you. They're
you're
not
helping
pulling
them help
all
you.
this information out, and you're not getting behind. There's certain times you can open the door, like, oh, Mrs. Jones is here, 45 minutes, and you know that you're going to get really behind in the day. But just like you said, if there's an informed patient, oh, see this here, good, yes, we're going to be able to work together. I can fix
Yeah,
her. Go on to the next patient, help
yeah,
her, and then help the next person, and still get home in time for my kid's soccer game. So you're
yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah, 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 absolutely, absolutely. I've loved that conversation. Is there anything you want to share, anything more you want to share with us regarding the 6 pillars?
Well, it's pretty complicated when you really get into it. It's very easy. The superficial ones, again, whole food, plant-based diet, exercise, stress reduction, social connections, sleep, and avoiding toxic substances. So that's the overarching framework. In my coaching and in the subscription on the patientworld.net platform, when you sign up for that, you're going to get ongoing information, videos, downloadables, and so forth, because the goal is not, okay, I learned this in a few hours. I remember this podcast. These are the 6 things I need. We need a lifestyle change. We need something that's going to be reinforced over and over. So you don't go from, okay, I heard about this once a few years ago. to the point that not only are you doing it, everybody in your household
Else is
knows.
doing it. Yeah.
Kids know. My kids will pick up stuff in the grocery store. Mom, this is good. Oh, it has chemicals, and put it back down. So, as women, caregivers for our kids, caregivers for our spouses, and sometimes for our parents, we're the bottom line. And so, even when it comes to cooking, that matters. I mean, fried foods, we know that it's not good for you. Fried food is not good for you, but you can actually create these chemicals called AGEs that impact everything from, I think, diabetes to dementia. So it's a very detailed process, but you go step by step. You grasp this and you get used to this, and then you keep adding and you keep adding and you keep adding. So your lifestyle is a lifestyle full of healthy habits. People around you see those habits and they live longer. And so it's an ongoing win-win situation where you benefit, everybody that you love benefits.
You live longer, you look healthier, you look younger than you really are.
Yes.
And people are wondering, oh, what's going on with you? Because you're taking time to take care of yourself, which is important.
I'm a great
And
grandmother.
And as business people, and as we're getting older, even if you're in your 20s listening to this, 30s listening to this, you're going to
Mhm.
wake up one day and you are in your 50s. I tell you, you'll be wondering, where did 20 years go? Like, it's just going to go so fast. Time goes so fast. And if you start now to fix yourself, to take all the right steps, then I'll tell you a story. I met this lady. She is, because she's not passed away, she is 87 at the time when I met her.
Mhm.
So that should be maybe 4 or 5 years ago. When I met her, she was 87. And I had to interview her. We went to a family meeting. She was very slim, very fit. And I just kept staring at her like she was so beautiful at 80. She carried herself like, she was light on the ground. So
Mhm.
out of curiosity, I just had to go interview her. And I said, can I ask you a few questions? How have you kept yourself looking like this? At 87, you're so fit. She said, you have to start early. In your 50s, if you haven't started walking and doing exercises, and your 50s, start doing it. By the time you get to your 60s, it gets more difficult. And then she told me how many miles she walks every day. She used to
Mhm.
do that with her husband before he passed away. He passed away at almost 100,
Wow.
and yeah, he was a mathematician. He was actually one of the founders of the Open University, and she's a mathematician herself. And I
Mhm.
tell you, so fit, so beautiful. I had 87 and she was looking, I
Yes,
just
that's
can't help
my
myself. I know. And I always remember her say, you have to start early to do exercises. You have to start early to do these things. If I find the interview, I may post it in the community. But it was a very informative talk with her that I had to record. But you have to start. Whoever you are listening to this, you're listening to it in the Facebook group, you're listening to it on any of our social media account. Start now to take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
You have to start now to take care of yourself. You can't blame anyone to say, oh, I didn't know, my doctor gave me the wrong pill. Your doctor cannot give you the wrong pill if you're not even informed. Like, you, they don't know. They do tests, but things change. Your lifestyle, the food you eat in the house may be affecting the medication they're giving you in the hospital. Now, I'm not a doctor, but based on what Dr. Ann is saying here, your food can affect the medication that you're taking. And if you're not aware of your body or have you fixing your body, then you create sicknesses in your body that you don't need to create, like taking care of your gut.
Absolutely. And something else, just to reinforce it, even if you're in your 20s and you have dreams of having this great business, just imagine how much money you're going to save over 30 years on medical bills, how much more productive you're going to be. Your mind is sharp. You're more likely to get those deals when you're negotiating because your brain is at peak performance. You're less likely to miss days of work, miss things because your body is where it needs to be. So if you track this out over decades, the potential to earn money goes up dramatically when your brain and your body are in sync, and you do that by following these pillars.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Do you have a final word for us before we round up? Thank you so much.
My final words are everybody, almost everybody, likely knows somebody who they feel died too early. And they also know people, like you just mentioned, who seem to keep living, 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 living. There's a reason for that. You have power. You have power to prevent, treat, and reverse many diseases. In America, 8 out of 10 visits to the doctor are for lifestyle related conditions. So that lets you know the potential that you have to direct your destiny. So I just encourage everyone to be very mindful of this and to make those wise decisions that are not only going to impact you, but everybody in your household. And just imagine your children, your children's children, your children's children. They pick up on these habits and they suffer less and live better. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I had a blast.
Thank you. Yes, it's been amazing. And I just remembered now, if you are wondering how Dr. Ann joined the community, I mentioned at the beginning she came in as a monthly member, the very first member who signed up. The community offers a membership which you can look into. We'll share the link and you can check it out. And it gives you access to share your goodness, your offer, your teachings in the space that we have every day of the week. So look at it and see if it's something you're interested in. But you can see that Dr. Ann has supported us for since we started, and she's still here. She's a lifetime member, still supporting us. It's a place to be, and I invite you to join us if it looks like what resonates with you. You want to be in this space, then come on board. We'll welcome you. Thank you again, Dr. Ann, for this lovely interview. And everyone listening, thank you wherever you are. Thank you very much. And God bless. Bye for now, everyone. Bye.